when you see these two guys face off, you've got two very high level strikers, but two very different strikers. So with Wonderboy, you've got someone that comes from a traditional karate background that has moved into more of a point kickboxing style of fighting, which is very good for timing and range. It's very good for picking people off as they move in, very much like a Lyoto Machida style of fighter, very good at counter striking, but also very good at chaining combinations together. So you can expect once he's thrown 2 or 3 punches, there's a head kick coming along the way, which we saw in his UFC debut. Then you've got Darren Till, who's much more of a traditional Muay Thai fighter in mixed martial arts. He stands slightly wider than a Muay Thai fighter, but he stands very tall and he marches people down. It's not necessarily about drawing you in and laying traps like Wonderboy will do. It's about putting you in a position where you feel very uncomfortable and then beating you up until you quit or you fall over. So you've got two strikers that are at the top of their game at both ends of the spectrum. And then you put them in the octagon together and I mean, whose guess as to what's going to happen? I'm going to try and figure this out as an analyst. And it could go either way. Because you could see Darren Till chasing Wonderboy and walking onto these peppering shots that are very frustrating, which then make him overreach and walk onto something more powerful, which is ultimately what Wonderboy is going to want to do. Or you've got Darren Till who's going to beat Wonderboy up, you know, make it uncomfortable, take his legs away, chop away at that lead leg like a Thai boxer would, and then force him into a clinch battle against the fence where he can use his knees and elbows. And that's where Wonderboy starts to panic. He starts to come apart at the seams because he's not a Thai boxer. That's not a familiar space to him. He wants the octagon behind him so he can move freely. And Darren Till's very good at making it uncomfortable. But then you take Wonderboy from the last 2 fights against Tyron Woodley and you see him deal with someone with strong wrestling base. So you've got to think that his takedown offense is good. You've got to think this is going to be a kickboxing only match. I don't see Wonderboy trying to take Darren Till down unless he gets hurt. I don't think Darren Till is going to take Wonderboy down. He may follow him down to the ground with a knockdown and try and finish the fight there. But I mean, this is a striking battle. This is like Street Fighter, like Mortal Kombat, like any top video game that you've ever played come true. These are two of the best strikers in the world in one of the best divisions in the world, where you've got power and speed that come together. And then you've got two guys who have been training martial arts their whole life that are desperately wanting to fight each other. Wonderboy needs to hold his spot in the division. Darren Till needs a win over Wonderboy to get any further in the division. I mean, the winner of this potentially gets a title shot. Maybe Wonderboy gets a rematch. Maybe Darren Till is absolutely launched to the top of the division and leapfrogs all the other guys that are working their way up as well. But there's no doubt about it. This is one of the best matchups that UFC could ever make. This fight is incredibly important for Stephen Thompson because he needs to win this fight to stay in the title picture. His last 2 losses were both title fights against Tyron Woodley, and he fell short in both of those. And he gave good accounts of himself, but he just didn't quite have the ingredients on the night. So we not only need to see him prove himself against a great striker, but we also need to see him take a step forward in his skill set. So, you know, I mean, if he doesn't win this fight, he's going to have to fight probably 3 more contenders. You know, they're all going to be tough fights. They're all going to be young, tough kids that have got very diverse skill sets, like Darren Till. The easiest route back to the title is to beat Darren Till and then call out Tyron Woodley. But in front of him, he has an unknown commodity. He has a guy that's never been defeated in the octagon. He has a guy that's supremely confident and a guy that has been calling for Wonderboy for a long time. What that tells me is that if Darren Till has looked at Wonderboy for the past 12 months and has been asking for that fight, he sees something in Wonderboy's game that he can exploit. He sees a weakness in Wonderboy's game that he can exploit. Then you take Wonderboy's perspective of Darren Till and put that into the equation, the fact that he doesn't really think much of him, the fact that he doesn't seem too concerned by Darren Till, which blows my mind considering it's a main event and Darren Till's just dispatched cowboying around. I don't know whether there are psychological games being played. I don't know whether Wonderboy's trying to downplay it for the benefit of the fans. I don't know whether he's trying to downplay it for the benefit of himself because he knows it's a tough fight. But Darren Till is absolutely 100% sure that this is the fight that gets him a title shot, and he's very open about what he's trying to achieve here. And he's picked Wonderboy out as the target, as the person that he has to go through to get it.